All of us have these experiences that I think have been missing in the halls of Congress. Honor that, respect that, put us at the table.
Over the weekend, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made dismissive remarks about Rashida Tlaib, AOC, and other Justice Democrats, saying to the New York Times, all these people have their public whatever and their Twitter world, she said, but they didn't have any following. There are 4 people, and that's how many votes they got. Now, that was in reference to those 4 Justice Dems voting against giving more money to the border without having any real changes in place to what's actually happening in these border facilities. Now, Rashida Tlaib and AOC both reacted to this. So first, let's go to Tlaib on ABC's This Week.
The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, said that you and the 3 other progressives made yourself irrelevant to the process by voting against the bill. All these people have their public whatever and their Twitter world, she said, but they didn't have any following. They're 4 people, and that's how many votes they got.
You know, people like us, people like me and Ayanna, Alhan, and Alexandria, we're reflective of our nation in many ways. But many of us didn't run to be first of anything. But more people like us have been missing in the halls of Congress. More people like us, people of color, have been missing in the chamber because most of us, and Ayanna Pressley says it more beautifully, people that are closest to the pain need to be at the table making these decisions. Guess what? We know what it feels like to be dehumanized. We know what it feels like to be brown and black in this country. And I'll tell you right now, we're not going to stand by and sit idly by and allow brown and dark-skinned children to be ripped away from their parents, to be dehumanized, to feel like...
What would you say to Nancy Pelosi? What would you say directly to Nancy Pelosi?
Honor the fact that we are there, that 650,000 people are represented by each and every single one of us, that there is some sort of, I think, in many ways, something special about having a refugee, having a woman that, you know, has experienced alone what incarceration has done to her family, right? All of us have these experiences that I think have been missing in the halls of Congress. Honor that, respect that, put us at the table. Let's come up with a solution together. But there is a better approach. They passed something out of the House. Still, I will not support anything that is broken and that dehumanizes people. But guess what? Mitch McConnell sent you back something that was worse. And I'll tell you right now, I mean, all you could do is focus on him. Uplift the women, especially the women of color within your caucus that are out there, because I'll tell you, more people like us, more people like me that come out to vote, we win. All of us win. And
okay, I'm going to have to stop you there for time.
It is very disappointing that the speaker would ever try to diminish our voices in so many ways. Again,
I appreciate your comments. Very much for joining us. Thank you so much.
I think it's obvious from this clip that Rashida Tlaib is a fighter. She actually cares about people. She's passionate. I mean, how often do you see politicians on these talk shows as passionate as Rashida Tlaib, AOC, and the other Justice Democrats are when they appear on television? I mean, they actually fight. They want to do good. They want to change things. Now, this is something that nobody on television will ever tell you. The reason why Nancy Pelosi is so fearful of them, the reason why Nancy Pelosi is going after these 4 Justice Democrats, is because they completely expose how incompetent Nancy Pelosi is. Right now you have a president in Donald Trump who, I mean, it's not even debatable at this point, is the biggest buffoon to ever become the president. Clearly broke the law, obstruction of justice multiple times in the Mueller report, not to mention the emoluments clause, not to mention all the crazy crap that comes out of Trump's mouth on a consistent basis. And guess what? Trump's approval rating just went up. I mean, this shows you how incompetent the Democratic leadership is. They should be using every moment that they have to push back against this president, to move for impeachment hearings, to expose how just insane it is that Donald Trump is the president. But they're not doing that. Instead, Nancy Pelosi is using her time to attack people to her left in the Democratic Party. I mean, it's insane. Now, I also want to share what AOC said in response to Pelosi's comments. So she tweeted out that public whatever is called public sentiment. And wielding the power to shift it is how we actually achieve meaningful change in this country. I find it strange when members act as though social media isn't important. They set millions of dollars on fire to run TV ads so people can see their message. I haven't dialed for dollars once this year and have had more time to do my actual job. Yet we'd rather campaign like it's 2008. So this is, I mean, for me, all of this is obvious. But for a lot of people that are maybe just tuning in and have been consumed by the MSNBC and CNN world, this is new to them. So understand, these candidates or these politicians, AOC, Tlaib, the others that aren't taking, that are Justice Democrats, what it means is they aren't dialing for dollars. They aren't having private fundraisers. They don't have any corporate money. All of their support, all of their donations comes from the grassroots. They only accept individual donations. These are candidates, or sorry, politicians of the people. So again, this is another aspect of why Pelosi is so scared of them, because these candidates don't have to answer to anybody like Pelosi does. They are free. They are free to actually represent real people in their districts. Now, another reply here. So AOC actually went even harder on Pelosi, which I like to see. So it was in response to this tweet here. So Andrea Ruth tweets out, from Jay Caruso in Independent today, AOC shouldn't insult Speaker Pelosi. She should learn from her. Okay, before I get to Pelosi's or AOC's response, I mean, the double standard here is so in your face. Pelosi was the one that started this with her comment in the New York Times. Pelosi's the one that's been going after these politicians again and again and again. People in her own party going after them. Yet, when AOC responds, oh, she shouldn't be attacking Pelosi. Are you effing kidding me? Now, here's AOC's response. Quote, a glass of water could have beat a 20-year incumbent. Quote, the green dream or whatever. Quote, the republic whatever. End quote. Those aren't quotes from me. They're from the speaker. Having respect for ourselves doesn't mean we lack respect for her. It means we won't let everyday people be dismissed. And that's pretty much all that needs to be said. AOC is aware and now publicly acknowledging that Nancy Pelosi is not representing the people. I mean, when you have to rely on these big dollar donors, as Pelosi and most of her Democrats in the House do, yeah, you're not representing everyday people. AOC, Tlaib, Omar, Ayanna Pressley, these are all Democrats, rare Democrats, that actually represent the people. Now, I also want to just share, to end on here, two reactions from people around Twitter. So this from the ghost of FDR's Martini. AOC is 100% right. Speaker Pelosi gave Trump a blank check and blindly trusted him that he will do the right thing. Either she's a fool or she's as evil as he is. And this from Mehdi Hassan. Quote, the New York Times interview is yet another reminder for liberals and leftists that if they want to oppose Trump, they have to oppose Pelosi too. My latest from The Intercept on the Pelosi interview with Dowd and her attacks on AOC and co. So just to go off Mehdi Hassan's tweet there, it's a great piece in The Intercept that really breaks down the exchanges between Pelosi and AOC and others and shows you what needs to be done. I mean, Nancy Pelosi has to be pushed out. Whether it's through a primary, whether it's through a leadership contest, whatever it is, Nancy Pelosi is the old way of doing things. I mean, it's all you got to do. Put yourself in the mind of somebody. I know it's super impossible to do this, and it's even maybe a dumb exercise to mention here, but imagine 10 years down the line. Who do you really think is going to be on the right side of history here? Nancy Pelosi, who is barely going after Trump at all, who's working with him on all the crap that's going on at the border, isn't pushing to actually have some real substantive policy changes on what's going on in these border facilities, or AOC, Tlaib, and others that are actually pushing for real change, are representing real people, are not taking any big dollar donors. I mean, who do you think is going to be on the right side of history? This is obvious. So Nancy Pelosi, her time's over. I mean, the country is not with her. Not with her on the policies, not with her on her approach to Donald Trump. They are not with her. The Democratic base definitely is not with Nancy Pelosi. So at this point, I mean, it's hard to even know how this is all going to shake out, because you have a situation here where, yeah, it really is 4 people in the House that are strong. I mean, you also have people like Ro Khanna, who's also a Justice Dem, and in many cases also votes along with AOC and the others. So that's what has to happen at this point. You need to slowly, the Democratic Party needs to slowly primary out these corporate Democrats like Pelosi and just completely board the ship and take over and turn the Democratic Party into a party that actually represents people once again.